Sue, the Soggy Stamper. Rain or shine, it is stamping time. It's a Friday afternoon, and this is my Fabulous Friday Facebook Live. And I am really excited to show you a new fancy fold that I learned from Yvonne Schwendeman. She's really a queen of fancy folds. I think she spends all her time looking for them, and I appreciate that because not only does she share the cards that she makes, but she shares the dimensions and stuff like that so other people can make the cards too. Thank you so much, Yvonne. At any rate, the suite today that I'm going to be using is this Country Lane Floral Suite collection. I'm going to use just portions of it. Unfortunately, for the time being, that the punch is sold out and won't be available until I think March 13th. But you can still use parts of it. I was particularly drawn to the designer series paper, Country Floral Lane. It has these lovely hearts and flowers and really pretty background things. I did not get the gingham papers, but that's part of the suite too. And then there's the bundle that you could get and can get again, like I say, later here in March. So at any rate, this is what I'm going to use. I did use it for some Valentine cards, and this one is one that can be used anytime during the anytime. And this is the card. And it says, I love that we are friends. And this is a good friend card for any time. I have not used this particular design of the designer series paper before, but I thought this would be the perfect chance to use it. I have a friend who's a biker enthusiast, has been riding bicycles for years, and competed in some long distance ones. I thought perhaps maybe I might send this to her. So anyway, this is what it looks like. It folds up to be a 5.5 by 4 1/4 card to fit in our standard envelopes. And when you open it up, it stands up nicely by itself. And you can see from that view, how it's kind of a seesaw. Kind of goes back and forth like this. And that's where it got its name. So let's get started on it. You start with a piece that's 8 by 4 1/4, and I decided to make a border around it, so my designer series paper is 7 3/4 by 4. And I adhered it well with multi-purpose liquid glue. I like to do that because it gives you time to straighten it out a little bit if it's not quite straight. So there's that. And then we have to cut these two borders. They're 1 inch. And I like a paper trimmer particularly well because you can put your cardstock. Let me slide this up a little more so you can see. So I'm going to put this edge against the 1 inch, and then you cut from 1.5 inch down to 6.5. And the cutting blade has a little groove on there, so you put that up to 1.5, and then you trim it clear down to 6.5, so that you have a 1.5 inch edge on both of these. Sorry if my head's in the way. I have to make sure I can see. Okay, then I'm going to move this over to the other side on the 1 inch. I'm going to make sure that that's still at 6.5. And then I'm going to scroll back down this direction to the 1.5. I mean, not score, cut. Make sure that it cut through all the layers. Didn't quite on that one. So I'll do that again. I really recommend, I use the balmy blue cardstock, and it's a little thicker. I think using the basic white, which is not quite as heavy, is actually a little more, makes it a little easier. I still didn't quite get clear to the end through both layers, so I'm going to snip it. Okay, now those are cut well. Get that out of the way. Now, on this end, I'm going to score at 1.5 inches, and that is clear over to the edge here. And I'm going to score in between these two cut lines. They're at 1.5. And then I guess I'm going to have to turn it around, because I need to do it at 3. As well. Okay. So the first score is at 1.5, and then again at 3. Now on this end, I will score just these top edges from the cut line up to the top. Now you could do this on the card base, and then you could piece the designer series paper and adhere little pieces to the various sections, making sure that this is good and deep score. And then again at 3. And then from there down. Okay. And that's all the scoring we need to do. And this is your card base. So on this end, I have from here down to here scored, and this is 1.5 and 3 over to here on both the top and the bottom. And then on this end, I have scored at 1.5, just the inside part at 1.5 and 3. Now the trick is, this is a mountain fold right here. You kind of have to work it because you don't want to get, you want to get just, oh, that's not cut evenly. You want to get just the fold to be just the center part. You don't want this part to fold. So the center part goes like that. And at the 3 inch, it comes this way with a valley fold. And on this one end, it's a mountain fold on the 1.5 inch score line and a valley fold at the 3 inch. See how that's starting to take shape? You have to kind of work it. Because you don't want to get a bend there. So you encourage it. And this one has to go down. Like that, see? And then this one folds like that till you get it flat. And I didn't get it adhered real well right there, it looks like. Then you can take your bone folder and burnish the score lines. Turn this over. And then when you pull it apart, excuse me, it will stand like that. And then all you have left to do is decorate it. So the only really difficult part is getting the score lines to fold. Pardon me. I have a tickle in my throat. I also was careful when I cut my designer series paper to have, I wanted to have the bicycles going across the middle because this distance here is wider than here, so you wouldn't get a whole bicycle anyway. So to decorate, I have stamped some hearts. And if I had a punch, and I had bought the punch, but one of my customers wanted the suite and wanted to be able to take advantage of the celebration. So I offered to sell to her my punch, and I will reorder when it's available. Anyway, but besides, it's not too difficult to fussy cut these hearts out. Right here, I was trying to figure out how to get a good image with the flowers because I would like to have used them on here, but it wasn't working out too well. I have a funny story to tell you. That reminds me. Do you see how this stamp is colored? I am so used to using my Stampin' Blends that I grabbed them without thinking, and I very carefully colored it all in, and I stamped, and nothing came off, and I went, oh no. Because you have to use, when you're going to do that kind of a thing, you have to use the markers, not the Stampin' Blends. Fortunately, I was able to take most of the color out by spraying it with alcohol, and most of the color came out of it. When my granddaughters were little, I was down staying with them while the youngest was born, and I was stamping with the two older girls, and the third granddaughter was taking a nap. And when she got up before we got through, and she wanted to stamp. Well, she's like 2.5 years old, or 3 maybe, and I wasn't really ready to let her have an ink pad. So I gave her a stamp and a piece of paper, and she took the stamp. It was one of the old foam ones that didn't have a block on it, and she says, "It's not working." And so I realized that she knew enough to know that you had to have the ink, so I gave her an ink pad, and she was happily stamping all over the place. I felt exactly like that granddaughter when I inked up my stamp and stamped, and nothing came off. At any rate, so be sure you have the right thing. And it doesn't work to use the Stampin' Blends on the red rubber ones either. It totally inks them up. At any rate, I decided not to use them because I couldn't get a good image. So, just fussy cut these out. And I'm sorry I didn't get these done ahead of time. I had planned to before, but I took a nap instead. I don't know about you guys, but the minute I sit down in that chair, my easy chair, with the dog on my lap, within 5 minutes I am so drowsy I fall asleep. No matter how much I intend to stay awake. I get totally relaxed, I guess. And when I get relaxed, the eyes get shut. Like I say, the punch would make this much faster, and that's why the images were stamped the way they were, because it fits in the punch. Making the job much faster. So celebration is over. I hope you guys had a good celebration. I hope you enjoy the products that you got. Some of them are very, very popular, especially the detailed designer series paper, detailed flowers or whatever it's called, the delicate flowers. I mean, that is a real winner. And it goes along with one of the stamp sets bundles in the spring catalog. By the way, Stampin' Up! Has come up with a new plan starting this year, and the mini catalog is good until May 1st, because that's when the new annual catalog comes out. Now that celebration is over, they still want to be able to give you new choices, and so now we have, for the month of March and April, we have online exclusive things that you can buy that are only online. They aren't in the catalog, in any of the catalogs. Okay, so there are the flowers. What happened to my greeting? Okay. Oh, I found it. On the floor. So I've got, I love that we are friends. And I cut it out with the deckled rectangles. And this piece, this measures 2 inches by 3 1/4, I believe. And so I wanted to layer it, and so this is, let me measure. Okay, 1 3/4 by 2, and this is 1 3/4 by 1 1/2. No, 2 3/4 by 1 1/2. Brain's not working too well. And I have struggled with this snail, with the Stampin' Seal for ever since it came out, getting it to work consistently without coming off the end of it. And it come to find out, you don't press hard. See, now I had to advance it. But you press just lightly, just slightly, and then when you come to the end, you just kind of flick it like that, and generally it does not come off. Okay, so now let's slide this in. Like that. So I love that we are friends. And then I'm going to put these hearts on. And I'm going to use liquid glue with this. You could pop them up with Stampin' Dimensionals, but this is a fairly thick card anyway, and if you're going to mail it, You might have to add extra postage. So I'm going to keep it as flat as possible. That one down here. Now we could fancy it up with a little bit of bling if we wanted to. I think maybe I'll put a little bit of wink of Stella on those hearts. I love using this wink of Stella. Oop. There. And we'll just make them sparkle. Kind of blends the ink together a little bit, doesn't it? But that's okay. It is a really cool technique is to use the wink of Stella and watercolor with it, or color with it. And there you go. Can you see the shimmer? Just a little bit of shimmer to it. So there you have it. That is a Seesaw Shutter card. A little bit different fold, which is kind of fun. I can see all kinds of different possibilities with it. And if you do design using different paper, different adornments and stuff like that, I'd love to have you share it with me. This is Sue, the Soggy Stamper. My blog is soggystamper.com, and you can send an email to me with a picture of your card. I'd love to have it and share it on my blog, sue@soggystamper.com. This video will be on my YouTube channel, The Soggy Stamper, this afternoon. And if you need any of the products, I'd love to have you as a customer. My store is creationsbysue.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next Friday afternoon. Have a wonderful afternoon and weekend. Bye-bye.